Okay, everybody, hey, for this assignment today, what we're going to do is we want to go ahead and be able to solve our maze. But before we do that, unlike VEX Code VR, where you just put in 90-degree turn, it does a perfect 90. In real life, with our Lego robots or any other real-life physical robot that moves around in the real world rather than just a simulated thing on the screen, we have to actually figure out how to make it turn exactly 90. The good news is it's all trial and error. It's not very complex. You have to try a few times, but we're going to see if we can get a turn set up that turns exactly 90 degrees. To do this, you'll need to get a piece of paper like this that has perfect 90-degree turns on it. If you need this, just come talk to me. I'll print you some. I have some that I've handed out. And we're going to need to tape it down in the corners. You can see there's a little tape here and here, because if you don't have it taped down, it will move when the robot moves. Here I have 2 pieces of masking tape. You could do all 4 corners if you're worried about it. I think 2 should be enough, okay? But if you see the paper moving around, which I don't think it will, you may want to get more. Okay, the first thing we're going to need to do is we're going to have our Lego turn indicator built and the driving base. We did that before. And we're going to go to spike.legoeducation.com. I'll put a link to this on the assignment, so go back to Canvas. You should be able to have a link to this. And we're going to need our USB cable, of course. Okay, so I apologize if I've said this twice, but you need the USB cable. I can't remember if I said that before I paused or not. So I'm going to go to Spike Prime. The Essentials is a different one. It's for like elementary school kids. These are more for middle school and high school students. So we're going to go to Prime. Something might pop up. If it does, go to version 3. That's what we want. And we're going to go to New Project. All right? And go to Word Blocks. I don't even know how to do the icon blocks. If you choose that one, you're kind of on your own. So let's go to Word Blocks and create. Okay, now we're here. Now the first thing we have to do, it's kind of a little bit annoying, but you can see on this robot that one of my students built, we have the motors plugged in, and they're plugged into C and D on this one. E is a different motor. That's the one on the front. We're not going to use that one for this assignment. So we're going to tell it our drive motors are C and D, because anyone can make a Lego robot any way they want. So they have to have it versatile so they can do it any way. So we have to tell it where our motors are plugged into. So you're going to go down here to movement, and we're going to go down here to set movement motors, and it's going to start out on A and B. Click this and change it to C and D, or if you've moved your motors to somewhere else, you might have to choose whatever ones, your drive motors, the ones with the wheels on, whichever one those are plugged into. And you can see here, we have this motor, the wire goes here and plugs into D. This motor wire goes into C. Okay, so I've got that. Now it knows, hey, that's great. We have to tell it now, if we want to type in number, like you could put in, if anybody who knows Legos knows, there's like, Lego probably has 100 different sizes of wheels. They have a lot over the, Legos have been around since I think the 70s or 80s for the Technic types. So there's a lot of different wheels. We have to tell it how big our wheels are, meaning what's the circumference? How far, if we do one rotation, how far will it go? The good news is it's already set up for these exact wheels. So you just go down here to set one motor rotation and leave it on 17.5 centimeters. That tells the Lego like, oh, if they type in a certain distance they want to go, now the Legos knows how to do the math to make it go that distance. Finally, we set the movement speed, and for this one, we don't want the thing to move too fast. I would keep that right at 50%. So you see, set the drive motors, change it to, click here, change it to C and D. Look, if you have other stuff, you can unclick those, but we're going to set that to C and D. You have to set one motor rotation to 17.5 and set the movement speed to 50. All of these should be in, I'm colorblind, but my students told me that this was pink. Okay, cool. All right, so let's go to the next part. So we're going to take our robot, and we got to be real careful. Now, because of the camera, it's really hard for me to get this lined up, but I'm going to set my robot down, and there's a couple things that are really important. You might want to take off these white things, the flags, so you can actually see the axle. So I'm just going to take these, I'm going to set these over here. I don't need them for the moment. You can put them back on later. We're going to line up 3 points to start off with. Number one, we're going to line up this axle exactly on this line. So this axle right here on this line. Again, because of the camera angle, it's hard to show you this. This axle exactly on this line. And look down straight from the top. So look straight down on it. Okay, we want to look straight down. And the third point we want to line up. So I got this. That looks pretty good. The third thing is we want to line up this little circles here so that you can see this other line right in between there. Okay, so that looks pretty good. And I probably should have showed you to do this one first, but we do need to plug in our robot. I hope it doesn't move it around now I got it lined up. My fault. So we're going to plug this in. Try to hold it still. Line that back up. Okay, that looks pretty good. And then I'm going to plug this one into my computer. I have a free USB port. Yeah, there it is. Actually, I'm going to run it right through here. Okay, I got that plugged in. And because my cord's going this way, I'm just going to actually turn this, line it up this direction. And again, there's a reason why I'm being so precise. It's gotta be lined up really accurately. Okay, so there we go. And now we're gonna go, and we're just gonna go here, we're gonna drag out this block. It says move right for a number of rotations. So let's put that one on there. First of all, we wanna move this and change it all the way to 100% right. What's that mean? Well, if we don't have it all the way 100% right, it's going to do a slow arcing turn where the robot moves while it's turning. We don't want that. We want it to turn in place and do very sharp turns. So you have to change it to 100% right. So it's like, hey, we're going to do the sharpest, quickest right turn we can do, which will mean it will stay in place instead of like moving and roll off the paper. We don't want that. And then I'm just going to take a guess at it. You know, to start out, I'm going to try 6 rotations. So we can do rotations. Don't do degrees or seconds. We're going to do rotations, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this. And you got to be careful because this will probably run right away, won't it? Let's try this. Oh, we have to connect it to USB, so you have to click this. It's already updated. Great. Connect with USB cable. And go to open. And you have to turn the robot on, otherwise it won't find it. Okay. See, now once I turned it on, it shows up. It's Spike Prime VCP COM18. COM18 is just the port that's what the computer calls that USB port that you plugged it into. It might be different for you, so click that and click connect. And you can tell it's connected because these little sensors show up, C, D, and E, and it tells you the rotation angle of the motors. Okay, cool. Oh, and we need to throw in one more thing so it doesn't start moving right away. Let's go down here and we're going to go to events. Let's move this over here. And we're going to grab this one. It says when left button is pressed. And I'm going to attach the movement one, the right 6 rotations, right 100%, 6 rotations here. That way it won't start moving when it's plugged into the USB, which will throw off its turn. Okay? And I want to press the play button. Okay, now it's running, and we can disconnect the USB cable. And for you guys, you'll have to go move it onto the paper right now. So you go, you get it all set up on the paper, line up 1, 2, 3, that's pretty good. I'm looking straight down so we don't get parallax errors in our vision. And now, if we look at it on the screen, this was program 0. So when I go to this thing, it should be running right now, and it's waiting for me to press the left button. Holy moly. 6 rotations of the wheels is way, way too much. So let's go back, and we're going to do some guess and check. So I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to cut that way down to something like 2 rotations. Or let's just do like a half of a rotation, or no, let's go 2. 2 rotations. Okay, great. So we got to plug our robot back in to try the new code. And mine, this turn indicator seems to be running into my USB camera if it goes too much. So I'm going to line my robot back. Well, actually, let's download our code. Connect again. It's really annoying because it asks you every time, is it updated? I wish I could get rid of that, you guys, but it just does it every time. It's annoying. You have to do 5 clicks. There it is. Connect. Download your code. It's running it. It's waiting for me to press the button. Let's see if this does a little bit better job. Okay, and left button will run it. Now look what happened. Actually, it did almost a full turn. So let's try 1 turn. Or let's try it, and you can do half numbers, or like 0.75. Let's try that. Or you could do 0.2. You could try 1.5. You could do decimals. You could also do 1.55 if you want to get super exact. So I'm going to just try this at 0.1 because we've already done a few things. Okay, so let's go ahead and plug this thing back in and download our new code and give it a try. And again, we have to go through this annoying procedure. Connect. Yep. Connect with USB. Open. There it is. And connect. Super annoying, I know. I wish they would change that, but they haven't. They just won't. I don't know what's going on. It's a really terrible thing. So let's go ahead and we will download this to our robot. It's running. Disconnect it. Move it to your paper. Get it all lined up again, just right. What are we looking for? We're looking for it to stop where this line is exactly in the middle of those. Let's see if 0.2 will be enough. Hopefully, we want to have something that's not quite enough. So let's go and, whoa. Okay, so 0.2 didn't go, or 0.1 barely went anywhere at all. So now we know it's somewhere in between 2 and 0.1. So let's try something else. Let's try something bigger than that. 0.7. And we're going to guess and check until we get it just right. If it goes too far, you need to use a smaller number. If it doesn't go far enough, like mine, you need to use a larger number. And I'm going to keep doing this until I get it to stop exactly right here. Now, this is not the correct answer, but I'm going to pretend now, because you're going to keep going until you get it exactly right. Let's just pretend, and again, this is wrong. Let's pretend I got done and it was 1 rotation, 1.2, let's say. It's not, but let's pretend. What we're going to do is we're going to save this project. So we're going to go right here and click the Save button. And we're going to go into the Downloads, or Documents is a good place for it. And I'm going to go Right Turn. So after you've got it figured out, you're going to save this because we're going to be using this again and again as we do our maze project. So I save it and I'm done. Again, you've got to get it exactly right. 1.2 is not correct. So there it is. Thanks everybody. And when you're done with this, the idea is that you show me, and you show me that you have an exact right turn ready to go. And then I'll give you a grade. I'll mark it down on my thing and I can score you for making progress in this, okay? Thanks everybody.